Afternoon. Welcome to the High Noon Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. It's just me ranting about all the day's news, the headlines, the hot topics, the current events, whatever it is that's making buzz in this great, crazy world of ours. I'm going to list it for you. We're going to run through it. We don't spend too much time on any one subject. I just give you I tell you what it is that's trending or making headlines. I tell you why, and then I give you a hot take and we move on. That's it. It's that quick. We don't get politically divisive. We don't do politics here. I hate politics. I hate you political people. You people all suck. Okay, that's not what we do here. Let's see here. Chat room. Hi, Al. We got Adam. We got Byron. People are falling in. Taranda's here. Grab your yoga mats, your beanbag chairs. Form your soul circle of life. Join hands. And let's move forward. Gonna be another short show today. Well, you know, that's just the way life is these days. We won't get a full 2 hours. Probably gonna drop off about 1:30-ish. So just a heads up on that. Radio Misfit show scheduled for this evening. You can join me and James Parker. You can find all the old shows if you want to listen to old shows. These shows, the high noon rants that we do right here, these are not evergreen, as they say. Evergreen meaning something that's evergreen is always going to be fine. The Radio Misfit shows are more like that. It's more conversational. It's not topical so much, not driven by any specific thing of the day. Although if there is a big specific thing, James and I'll get into it. Let's see here. What else do I need to mention? Peter's here. Hey, Peter. Peter was yesterday's executive producer. We don't have an executive producer today. That's unfortunate. We didn't get a tip yesterday, so, you know, that's this show. By the way, this show runs on your gratuities. We need to make X amount of dollars every month to make this show float. And so, yeah, there you go. I hate doing the gratuity thing. You know, I hate it. But whatever. Hey, it's how we do this. I enjoy doing it. Do you enjoy it? Okay, so let's come to an agreement. Drop a little something in the Venmo or the Cash App if you would. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. What else? I'm trying to think if there's any like small talk segment. Like, is there anything that I want to get off my chest? Anything? Not really. Not really. I'm in a weird mood. I'm in a very weird mood. We'll talk about that as the show progresses. I'm sure it will reveal itself. All right, let's talk about today. Let's get into what this today's show is. As you all know, we do the same thing every day. We do it in 4 quarters. I like to think of it as the first one. We start out, we talk about erstwhile on this day, previously on things that have occurred on this day in history. We go through them. We don't spend too much time on that, but just enough to get a nice idea of what this day has represented in the past. Then we move on to birthdays, talk about people celebrating birthdays, talk about their contributions, shit on them a little if necessary, or praise them when due. Then we go into the heaven and hells, people who died. We talk about people who died on this particular day, and we decide, we sit in judgment on Mount High, heaven or hell, based on our ideas, what these people have represented in their lives. Are they probably in heaven or hell? So after we do that, after we do erstwhile on this day, birthdays and heaven and hell, then we move into the topics. Okay, so if you're ready, let's get started. It is the High Noon Show, the High Noon Rant, the High Noon Report. It's been called all of these things. For the 26th day of September, year of our Lord, 2023, September the 26th is 269th day of the year. 96 days until the end of the year, so get those New Year's Eve plans started. All right, erstwhile on this day, a look back on the events that have shaped our perception of what this day has represented throughout time. On this day in 1933, as Gangster Machine Gun Kelly, not the hip-hop guy, the real Machine Gun Kelly. In 1933, as Gangster Machine Gun Kelly surrenders to the FBI, he shouts out, "Don't shoot, G-Men!" It was the first time the phrase was ever uttered. G-Men. Dude, look, I gotta warn you. Today ain't like, today's like Today ain't a great day historically. There's not a whole lot of things. This is what I lead off with, right? We get to 1933, and it's the origin of the phrase G-Men. I'm just warning you. It doesn't get a whole lot better. On this day in 1960 in Chicago, the first televised debate takes place between presidential candidates Richard M. Nixon and John F. Kennedy. This is, many say, how Kennedy got elected. Nobody ever really saw the candidates. They'd see pictures in the newspaper and all that, but this was television. You could actually stare at them. You could see the way they flinch. And people thought Nixon looked shifty. And then Nixon started sweating because like he was under the lights of the TV camera. Whereas Kennedy's people, they were like prepared and they had makeup on them. Nixon refused to wear makeup. So what ended up happening was mops. He's sweating. He looks shifty. It didn't work out for him. That was on this day in 1960. The McClurg Court Studios. They're in McClurg Court in Chicago on this day in 1960. The first televised presidential debate. On this day in 1969, Abbey Road, the last recorded album by the Beatles, is released. Now, why is that? Because it's not the last Beatles album to be released. The final Beatles album to be released is Let It Be. But Abbey Road was actually, Let It Be was, Abbey Road, such a masterpiece. Abbey Road is their best album. I mean, look, I have a really strong attachment to Revolver. I think, my love of power pop and jingle jangle pop, that's Revolver. That's where that origin story is. But Abbey Road is the best Beatles album. And Abbey Road is the album that they just basically, when they finished that album, they were like, I am never talking to you people again. And that's kind of what broke them up. And then they own another album, so they cobbled together Let It Be from stuff that they'd already recorded. On this day in 1969, Abbey Road, the Beatles. Fine, it's really the last time the Beatles worked together on an album. Abbey Road. On this day in 1981, Nolan Ryan sets a Major League Baseball record by throwing his 5th no-hitter. Woo! Nolan Ryan. He's scary. That's it. See what I mean? Erstwhile on this day. That's it. There was like nothing big that happened on this day. All right, but we do have some fun coming up because it's Buana, Buana, Buana. I don't have music rights. Buana, Buana, Buana. So I have to sing songs. It's their birthday. It's the birthday segment here. They say it's their birthday, born on this day in 1932. Donna Douglas, Ellie Mae Clampett. Let me do something here. Let me, because I'm thinking about this. Let me do something here. Hold on. Ellie Mae Clampett. Ellie, you're not going to do voice on me? You're not going to let me do voice? You son of a... Oh, you're recording that. Oh, you recorded me going, you're not going to let me do voice. All right, hold on a second, folks. I want this is just for my own personal edification. So, Donna Douglas, born on this day, is Ellie Mae Clampett, right? From the Beverly Hillbillies. I was a little kid. I didn't really hit puberty when I first became aware of Ellie Mae Clampett. But the programming tells me that Ellie Mae Clampett was hot. I don't think I've really looked at Ellie Mae Clampett. So let me take a look at Ellie Mae Clampett in her prime and determine, you know what, why wouldn't I do this over here with you guys? I never really, I don't know. Marilyn Monroe, everyone's like, she's the most beautiful woman in the world. Well, I have looked long and hard at Marilyn Monroe, and I do not agree that she is the most beautiful woman in the world. I think that Marilyn Monroe is fine. She's like a Cleveland 8 at best. Here we go. Let's look at this. All right, so let's check her out. Let's find a good picture. I don't think. Well, you know what I'm getting a lot of? I'm getting a lot of the remake Ellie Mae Clampett. All right, here's Ellie Mae Clampett. We'll look at her. It's black and white, but whatever. Donna Douglas, born on this day. Yeah, we're spending more time than I expected, but that's because I just thought, I'm not even sure if I know what she looks like. And is she beautiful? Yeah, she's beautiful. There we go. Yeah, that's Ellie Mae Clampett. She's beautiful, right? There she is. Boom. She's beautiful. Okay. All right. Yeah, she was pretty. She was never mind. Big face, big eyes, big. That was the one that they remade. All right, never mind. Spending way too much time on Donna Douglas. On this, her birthday. Happy birthday, Donna Douglas. Born on this day in, hold on. What year was she born? I want to make sure I get that. Born on this day in 1932. Born on this day in 1937, Jerry Weintraub. Jerry Weintraub was up. Here's what Jerry Weintraub did. Jerry Weintraub started out as a man. He's a super power. Well, he's dead, but it was a super powerful Weintraub. You've seen that on numerous films. So Jerry here's where he came from. He was back in the late 60s, early 70s. He was trying to become a manager, a music manager. And he got this guy that was kind of lame. And this guy wasn't exactly cool, at least by the standards of 1972 LA music scene, right? But he was good. And Jerry Weintraub was like, you know what? This guy might not be that cool. He might not be Dylan, but holy crap, he's really talented. And he might be just as talented, just maybe not as cool. And Jerry Weintraub just took this one guy on and just worked the system and made this guy a star. That guy was John Denver. You ever wonder, like, what was John Denver's deal? Like, he was a mega star in the 1970s. And it's like, he ain't cool. He's kind of a dork. Anyway, Jerry Weintraub did that. That led to a whole bunch of other things. Now, what is Jerry Weintraub also known for in his early days? Jerry Weintraub essentially invented the arena concert. Concerts by bands and all that kind of stuff. The Beatles had done stadiums, but that was just a cash grab. That was never intended for other bands to play stadiums, and no other bands did. We don't see video of the Kinks at Shea Stadium, right? So it was a one-off Beatles thing. Jerry Weintraub took Elvis on a basketball arena tour, and that started the whole stadium tour thing. Jerry Weintraub then went into movies. He produced a whole bunch of movies. Like, what are some of his movies that he did here? Let me see here. Anyway, in addition to John Denver, after he made John Denver a star, and everybody was like, how did he make John Denver a star? He became the manager of Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, the Four Seasons, Neil Diamond, Bob Dylan, Led Zeppelin, Three Dog Night, and the Carpenters. So he handled a lot of the biggies in the 1970s. All right, so here's his movies. Here's the movies he did as executive producer: Nashville, Diner, The Karate Kid, Ocean's 11, Behind the Candelabra, Years of Living Dangerously. Anyway, happy birthday, Jerry Weintraub. He's a cool guy. He just died like a couple years ago. When did he die? Oh, no, never mind. He died a long time ago. He died in 2015. I thought he one of these old cool Hollywood dudes from the 70s just died. I don't know. Whoever. Born on this day in 1937. Happy birthday, Jerry Weintraub. Born on this day in 1945. Brian Ferry. Very dapper, very cool Brian Ferry, Roxy Music. Born on this day in 1945. Born on this day in 1948. Olivia Newton-John. Oh, she's dead too soon. She like disappeared for like 20 years. Olivia Newton-John was Taylor Swift. Oh, that's right, kids. I know you don't get it. You're like, what? There couldn't possibly have ever been some. Olivia Newton-John was big, huge. Hit songs. But also movie star. Grease. Okay, what else did she do? Did she do anything? Xanadu. That wasn't great. They tried to make her a movie star. Maybe it didn't catch. But Grease, she'll always have Grease. Olivia Newton-John, happy birthday. She was the original Taylor Swift. Born on this day in 1948. Born on this day in 1956, Linda Hamilton. She's a big old buff lady with James Cameron money. Linda Hamilton was in The Terminator. Linda Hamilton was in... I don't know. Happy birthday, Linda Hamilton. She was married to James Cameron. They divorced. She got a whole bunch of money. She's super crazy rich. Born on this day in 1956. Born on this day in 1961, Jeannie Buss. Jeannie Buss, the first female to be the executive president of an NBA team. Jeannie Buss, the daughter of Jerry Buss, of course, the Los Angeles Lakers. I am such a Jeannie Buss fan. I love Jeannie Buss. I don't know the real Jeannie Buss. I only know Jeannie Buss from the HBO series Winning Time, which just ended, and rightfully so. I was like, yeah, okay, this is getting to be a little bit much. It wasn't a great series. It was interesting because it depicts something that I lived through, so I watched it, but it wasn't a great Winning Time on HBO. It wasn't great. It was interesting if you're interested in the Lakers, if you're interested in the Showtime Lakers of Magic Johnson and Kareem and Pat Riley and Jerry Buss and all that. Anyway, Jeannie Buss, our birthday girl today, was one of the main characters in that show because she's now the president of the Lakers, but back in the 1980s, she was like an intern. She was the daughter of the owner. She was awesome. She did everything. Happy birthday, Jeannie Buss. Just married Jay Moore. Congratulations, Jeannie Buss. She also dated Phil Jackson. She went from Phil Jackson to Jay Moore. Let's see here. Jeannie Buss, born on this day in 1961. Born on this day in 1972. Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke, Texas politician, born on this day in 1972. Born on this day in 1981, tennis Beyonce, Serena Williams. It's Serena Williams' birthday. She's like tennis Beyonce. She's like as influential and as big and all that stuff just from tennis instead of like Beyonce. So I also call Beyonce urban Taylor Swift, and I call Taylor Swift suburban Beyonce. It's just how I classify them in my head. Life gets boring. All right, that's going to do it for birthdays. See what I mean? Today's day is not really Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Let's go to people who have died. That's right. This is where we decide, based on someone's body of work, whether or not they should be in heaven or in hell. Now, let's get started here. Dead on this day. Dead on this day in 1902, Levi Strauss. He did Levi Blue Jeans. Heaven or hell? Heaven, right? Heaven. Blue Jeans. There you go. Dead on this day in 1984, John Facenda, American sportscaster. Do you guys know who John Facenda is? Oh, he was the voice of NFL films. He's in heaven. The frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. He was like Moby Dick in a fishbowl. John Facenda's in heaven. God, he had a great voice. Not me. I got a crap voice. Dead on this day in 1984. He's in heaven. Dead on this day in the year 2000, actor Richard Mulligan. Now, Richard Mulligan, I guess he was the star of Empty Nest, right? Wasn't that a Golden Girls spinoff? I never watched that. Richard Mulligan is Burt Campbell from Soap. Richard Mulligan, if you remember the 1970s groundbreaking landmark sitcom, Soap. Richard Mulligan played Burt, and Burt was man, I'm telling you, I didn't know what I was looking at. I'm like 10 years old. I'm watching this character of Burt. I didn't know what Burt was insane. Burt was one of the most interesting. He still is to this day, and I've gone back and I've watched Soap as an adult. It is still brilliant. It is still just a brilliant TV show that was just light years ahead of its time. But Burt thought he was invisible, and at 10 years old, I thought that was the funniest thing. You know how Kramer's just like every time Kramer walks into a scene on Seinfeld, you start to laugh because you think something funny's happening. That was Burt. Burt thought he could turn invisible, except Burt couldn't turn invisible. But everybody played along with it like he was invisible. Anyway, he's in heaven, Richard Mulligan. I love Richard Mulligan. He was Burt Campbell from Soap. Dead on this day in 2000. Dead on this day in 2006. How about Byron Nelson, local treasure? He's in heaven. Let's put him there. Golf guy. I don't know. Probably. Sorry. Let's see. Also dead today in 2008. Happy Death Day. He's going to heaven preemptively. Paul Newman. Paul Newman is going to heaven. Paul Newman draft. I can't do a Paul Newman draft. I'm sure I've done a Paul Newman draft on his birthday for a couple of years now. I go, well, what do you want me to say? Cool Hand Luke is one of the greatest films ever made. There you go. Paul Newman draft. Cool Hand Luke. Slapshot, absolutely. Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, absolutely. The Sting, absolutely. Absence of Malice, absolutely. The Color of Money, absolutely. The Hustler, absolutely. Paul Newman. God, how do we even do that? Paul Newman, dead on this day in 2008. Yeah, he's in heaven. He was a badass man. He was a dude. You know how much money, you know how much good, you know how much awesomeness, and here's the other thing that he has done with that stupid Newman Charities. I mean that, with all the love in the world, that crazy Paul Newman charity organization. And not only that, but so all the salad dressings and pasta sauces and all of that stuff goes to that. That's not a for-profit company. So when you buy the Paul Newman stuff, it goes. Here's the thing. It's also really good, man. The Paul Newman pasta sauces, that Saccaroni stuff is incredible. It is like the best sweet marinara. Oh, it's incredible. Paul Newman's in heaven. All right, there you go. That's going to do it. That's all the people that have died. We've sat in judgment. Every single one of them went to heaven. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, it sure is. Here's a reminder. Support the show if you would. This show runs on your gratuities. Going to leave that up there. If you feel so inclined to support this kind of non-divisive talk, please drop a little something and help the show get through another month. Let's get into all the things that are trending today. We're going to run through these. I got to be off the air just about an hour. So let's see if we can't knock these out, okay? I need a drink of water. Thank you, folks. All right, here we go. Hey, President of the United States is in Michigan amidst a giant auto worker strike that's going on there. United Auto Workers are on strike, not just in Michigan. They're on strike in a whole bunch of states. But Michigan's the one that he really needs. They're also on strike in Ohio. They don't expect to win Ohio. They do expect to win Michigan. So Biden is in Michigan, and he's made a decision. And this is a very interesting decision. We won't spend too much time talking about it because we don't get into the weeds on politics or partisan bullshit. So here's all I'll say. Joe Biden has decided in this election year that he is going to become the first president to get involved in a labor dispute. The job of the president has historically been as mediator in these disputes. But we are in a time where Democrats feel that they need to show the working class that they are, in fact, on their side. So Biden is doing something that has never been done before. Biden is apparently going to Michigan. He's going to walk in a picket line today. He's going to walk on a picket line. He's going to hold a sign, and he's going to protest with the United Auto Workers. All right, so there you have it. That's what that story is all about. Supreme Court has made a ruling today. The Supreme Court in Alabama. Now, this is they've made a ruling by not making a ruling. It's one of those deals where, if you remember a couple of weeks back, Supreme Court of Alabama said that the new election, the electoral map that was created by the Republican-led legislature in Alabama, the new district map for Congress, was nonsense. The Supreme Court in Alabama said this is nonsense. This is basically because it excluded certain people, black people. It did. And I'm just saying. So the Supreme Court of Alabama said, nope, can't do it. So Alabama took their thing and they said, we want the Supreme Court to look at this. So they wanted to go over the Alabama Supreme Court's head, take it to the United States Supreme Court. And the United States Supreme Court has decided that they ain't going to get involved in this nonsense, and what the Alabama Supreme Court is right. So there you have it. So that's going to stay. They're going to draw up a new district maps for Alabama, and it's going to create at least one more congressional district, which is a very big thing. At least one more. They're saying it could be as much as 3. And if it's 3 congressional districts in Alabama in areas that are predominantly African-American, the Democrats think they're about to, win the House. Anyway, that's what's at stake here. So this is a very, very big ruling. Alabama has to now do a new map, and it's going to create possibly 3, but at least 1 new congressional district that will almost undoubtedly be a minority representative, which will then add more. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're moving on. Consumer confidence readings are out for this month, and they are they're in the tank. They're so low. The consumer confidence rating are as low as they've been in 3 months. 90 whole days. Oh, stop it. Okay. It's been bad. They're acting like you don't need to sell that times are bad. We've known it's been bad. We've been in this inflationary period for 9 months now? How long have I been screaming about it? So, when they try and gin up the story that we're all still really bummed out, they try to make it sound like it's a big deal. It's U.S. consumer confidence is the lowest it's been in 4 months. In 4 months. Oh, that's not a long time. Look, we've been in this, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, where gas prices are absurd and food prices are nuts. And rising gas prices and high interest rates contributed to greater economic uncertainty and dampened consumer confidence in September, dropping the key economic indicator to the lowest level in 4 months. And get back to me when it's a couple of years. All right, there you go. So 4 months ago, we were just as bummed out. And what you're saying is what? that we all took the summer off, that we forgot about our cares, and now we're back to bill paying. Deepfake law. There is a law being offered up in the United States Congress that is going to make the intentional, harmful distribution of deepfakes illegal. I love these kinds of laws. We need to start tackling new technology. There are things that can be done. These deepfakes are dangerous. We can't have people intentionally misleading people with information that could be crucial to the overall welfare of our society. It's just an obvious thing. Bill would criminalize harmful online deepfakes. Newly introduced legislation seeks to protect individuals nationwide from being misrepresented by certain pop-up. It's one of those whole screen pop-ups. From being misrepresented by certain kinds of digital content known as deepfakes, a category that includes deceptive political messages, computer-generated sexual abuse material, and more. Computer-generated sexual abuse material? All right, I don't like this story now. We're moving on. All right, whatever. Just so you know, they're trying to make a law. And that sounds like a good law to me. That sounds like something we need. We don't need any new laws. Yeah, we do. As long as we have new technologies emerging and new ways of operating in society, yeah, we're going to need to take a look at the way new things are being done. Ugh. Yeah. All right. JetBlue. Here was a big story out of was this Florida? Fort Lauderdale. A JetBlue plane. 8 people were hospitalized. Severe turbulence last night on a JetBlue flight. You know, there is never a time when JetBlue is mentioned where it's good news. There is never like. Have you ever heard JetBlue? Like I hear good stories about Southwest. You know. Okay, that's it. I only hear good stories about Southwest. But I also hear bad stories about Southwest. But at least there are some good stories. I sing the praises of Southwest in their unaccompanied minor program. I used to have to send my kid back and forth. They were wonderful. I highly recommend it. And that's a really stressful thing when you're putting your kid on a plane. Oh, God, they were great. Phone calls, just checking in, letting you know they landed. Oh, they were so wonderful. 8 people were sent to the hospital after a JetBlue flight suffered turbulence before landing in Florida. This was Monday night. Monday night, JetBlue flight 1256 flying from Guayaquil, Ecuador to Fort Lauderdale experienced a sudden severe turbulence as it neared Florida. After landing safely at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, medical personnel took 7 passengers and 1 crew member to a local hospital for treatment and evaluation. So, they get like severe turbulence. You get bounced out of your seat, you hit the ceiling, something like that. I mean, I've heard of that happening. I mean, that's how people have died in turbulence. They break their neck. Ugh. You know what I do? I told you that I've recently become obsessed with TikTok, just scrolling in the middle of the night, just endlessly getting those just getting all of those little nice fun juices in my brain popping. Don't know why I do it before I go to bed. That's probably a miscalculation, but hey, add that to the list, huh? One of the things I'm obsessed with are these conversations between pilots and air traffic control operators. I don't know. I found a TikTok channel that is just these absurd arguments and debates between pilots and, oh my God. First of all, it's such an interesting dynamic because pilots kind of act like doctors. And if you know what I mean by that, pilots, when they're in the plane and they're in charge of all the souls on board, you know, pilots are kind of infallible. At least that's how they carry themselves. You know, it's kind of the attitude. Air traffic controllers are blue-collar dudes who are in bowling leagues. They're hungover half the time. They're incredibly dialed into their jobs because it's a really serious job, and you can't be a loser and be an air traffic controller. So what you got here is, you know, these guys, these pilots who expect everything to go the way they want, and then you've got these like air traffic controllers who are like, "Hey, I'm talking to you. I don't need your bullshit." I'm not kidding. You hear that stuff. I love the way air traffic controllers put pilots in their place, arrogant pilots. So I've listened to like a number of them where like severe turbulence, and it's always head injuries. It's always people banging their heads. All right, there you go. That's JetBlue. That's why JetBlue is trending. Chandler Jones. Let's talk a little NFL here. Chandler Jones. This is a really interesting story. Chandler Jones, of course, Las Vegas Raiders. Terrific. Hold on. Let me pull this up. I mean, terrific player, making a lot of money. The monster. He's a sack man. He's the little brother, I believe, of John Jones. I think he's the little brother. I think John Jones. I think UFC heavyweight champion Johnny Bones Jones. I think he's the middle child. And then Chandler, I think, is the young one. Anyway, Chandler's going through some stuff. He hasn't played all season. And here, I'll just read you the story because this is there's obviously something very serious going on with Chandler Jones. Las Vegas Raiders star pass rusher Chandler Jones has claimed that he was taken against his will to a mental health hospital by Las Vegas Fire Department last week and injected with an unknown substance. Well, unknown to him, I'm sure it was known to the medical professionals. He's a very big dude. He's Chandler Jones of the NFL. I imagine when the firemen are trying to, Okay, so let's read on. So he was taken in. He was, committed against his will in Las Vegas last week. Now, he hasn't played all season, so there's something going on with him. He's been on I don't know if it's the, personal, he's not, I don't know what his situation is. He's not injured, though. It's like an undisclosed, it's personal reasons, whatever. He hasn't played all year. Las Vegas Raiders star pass rusher Chandler Jones has claimed he was taken in against his will to a mental health hospital by the Las Vegas Fire Department last week and injected with an unknown substance. I was taken in by the Los Angeles Fire Department, Jones shared in 3 handwritten notes posted on X, formerly Twitter, with the caption, "First day out, but I'm still aligned." All right, so he just got out. That's where he's been. He says, I was injected with I don't know what, the 4-time Pro Bowler who hasn't played in a game this season claimed. Jones said a group of 5 to 7 showed up at his front door with an ambulance, and he was injected with the mystery shot and taken to Southern Hills Hospital with no cell phone and no communication. He then says he was transferred to Seven Hills Behavioral Health Hospital, where staff allegedly tried to force him to take further meds and injections. The former New England Patriot alleged that the Las Vegas Police Department told fire officials to detain him after they put him in a court hold. Hold on. The former New England Patriot alleged that the Las Vegas Police Department told fire officials to detain him after they put him in a, quote, court hold on the Super Bowl winning defensive end over a concerning post he had made online. All right, so apparently Chandler Jones posted something online and everybody went, let's commit him. I hadn't done anything wrong, Jones wrote. Hold on. Jones claims he had to sleep on the floor at one of the facilities on his first night and, quote, was not offered a bed. What is going on with him? Hold on. Let's keep going here. This place is not a place for high-profile athletes, he wrote of the facility. Jones reported that his brothers, one of whom is 2-time UFC light heavyweight champion John Jones, had to bring him decent meals to eat and clothes, and that his father came to read him Bible verses every day. I'm still confused on what I'm doing, Chandler Jones said, adding that he was very sane. Wow. Despite all he allegedly endured over the past week, Jones revealed it didn't stop him from grinding out workouts to stay in shape. He worked out in the facility. The NFL star shared he was working out in his room. All I know is whoever put me in here had bad intentions. I'm strong of a person to be mentally... He's rambling. There's something wrong with him. There's obviously something wrong with him. And here's why I think there's something wrong with him. Because absolutely nobody is I know that John Jones, I know that his brother has some mental issues as well. Look, that's not fair to say. It's not, just because his brother died. All I'm saying is I don't think we know what's going on here. And I think there's a reason that the Raiders haven't had him playing. They haven't even had him on the team or at the team facilities. The Raiders know something. There's something going on here. I can't imagine that, he was doing nothing wrong, minding his own business, and then they sent basically a SWAT team of firemen to shoot him up with a tranquilizer and then take him to he's a big, scary guy. This has to be Raiders related. I don't know. Anyway, interesting story. Chandler Jones, he is out of the mental health facility, developing ... Says he wants to be traded. He doesn't want to play for this team anymore. Nobody's going to take him. Nobody's going to take. A lot of teams would like to take him, and nobody's going to take him. He's showing some real erratic behavior. And again, I know enough about his brother to know that his brother does the exact same thing. This might be a family deal. Rolls-Royce is trending. Rolls-Royce is trending because they have announced, the British automaker of luxury vehicle, they've announced that by 2030, they will be completely out of the gas-powered engine business. By 2030, the final Rolls-Royce built with an engine will have rolled off the assembly line. Rolls-Royce is moving their intense luxury. I mean, their brand is like intense luxury, Rolls-Royce. They're moving their brand to 100% power for the coming generations. So there you have it. I'm seeing electric cars everywhere. Now I live in a neighborhood, like, I'm broadcast. That's why we rely on your tips. Thank you very much. Support the show. But I live in a neighborhood where everybody's a millionaire. Everybody, millionaires, and got a number of billionaires. And I live down the block from 2 NFL team owners, right? So these are the people that I have to sort of try and blend in with every day. I see a lot of electric cars around here, a lot of them, and brands I've never heard of, like luxury ones, SUVs. There's this really cool SUV, black SUV that rolls around here. That's it's not a Tesla, it's not a Rivian. I don't know what it is. It's like some really cool, and it looks really expensive. So why not? Rolls is getting into it. Rich people like electric cars. Why wouldn't Rolls do it? Let's see here. All right, moving on. What else do we have here? Here's a new poll. This is a good one. We don't do politics, but there is a big Republican debate coming up this week, isn't it? Tomorrow night. The Republican debate. I don't know where is it? New Hampshire? Who knows? Anyway, Nikki Haley is now in second place behind Donald Trump in New Hampshire. Nikki Haley. She's coming. I'm telling you, man, Nikki Haley is going to get the independents. Nikki Haley will get the fence sitters. Nikki Haley will get the soccer moms. She doesn't seem like an asshole. She seems like a tough broad. She seems like a capable broad. I mean, look, honestly, I haven't looked into it enough. I'm just going off on what my impressions are of her on the debate stage. Stands to reason that she would be closing in on, she passed DeSantis. What is happening with him? He's going to do a debate. DeSantis is going to do a debate with Gavin Newsom. Why? What is the point of that? Can we get Howard Stern and Donald Trump to debate? That's the debate I want to see. I want to see Howard Stern and Donald Trump on a stage, just going at it, just slinging shit at each other. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner, we've been telling you about this story. That's I don't know why I'm even remotely interested in it. It's because I'm a Game of Thrones heads, and I want to make sure that Sansa is taken care of, because I don't trust that Jonas kid. Yeah, I don't know. His eyebrows are too bushy. Joe Jonas of the Jonas Brothers and Sophie Turner of Game of Thrones, they got married. Now they're getting divorced. They had kids in between. And now they're fighting over the kids. And last week I told you about how Joe Jonas is keeping his kids in America. He's claiming that they're Americans and blah, blah, blah. And Sophie Turner, who is English, is saying, no, they're not American. They're actually, they've been enrolled in English schools and their address is here. Anyway, so they have lived in England. But then, he took them for the summer when he came to America to go on tour, and he took the kids with him, and he was supposed to give them back in September, and he didn't, because now they're going through a divorce. And he's like, kids are American. And she's like, no, they're not. So we've got, like I said, we got like a super fancy celebrity version of Ilian Gonzalez. We got one parent from another country going, so it's going to be that. Anyway, a judge in New York has said, nope, we're not going down that road. These kids are Americans. This is a Jonas brother, for crying out loud, an American treasure. These kids are American. So the judge says kids got to stay in New York. Not permanently. He didn't declare that they were Americans, but they don't have to be sent back to England. So there you go, Sophie Turner. Sophie Turner took one on the chin in this one in New York State Court. There's a new show on Max that is people are buzzing about. It's trending today. It's called Naked Attraction. You guys are familiar with this show? I'm not familiar with this show. It just debuted on Max, which is HBO's streaming service. HBO Max, now it's Max, whatever. Just debuted, and it is setting records. We're loving it. We're apparently all watching it. It's called Naked Attraction. I've never heard about it until this morning, until I saw it trending, which makes me think that maybe I'm being worked. But okay. Apparently, it's in its 6th season. It's a British show. It's a show that's over in England, and they're all crazy about it. But here's the deal. Well, I'll read it to you. Naked Attraction. That's the name of the show. And then it says, brutal, full frontal nude dating show quietly added to Max, making noise. Singles eliminate potential dates by scrutinizing and critiquing their nude bodies in the controversial series. Let's see here. How do we describe this? It's like being on Tinder, but so much worse. One of the United Kingdom's most infamous dating shows was quietly added to the Max streaming service last week, and it's already causing quite a stir. The streamer has imported 6 seasons of Naked Attraction, a game show that promises to start where a good date often ends, naked. In each episode, a single chooser critiques and eliminates 6 potential dates standing on a stage by scrutinizing their fully nude bodies, which are gradually revealed one part at a time. Faces are always revealed last. When only 2 potential dates remain, the chooser strips out of their own clothes, giving the remaining 2 contestants the opportunity to then critique them. The final couple then go out on a date with their clothes on. Well, of course, because they'd be arrested if they weren't. The episodes on Max are uncensored, but have added a warning at the beginning of each. The following series is intended only for mature audiences. It contains full frontal nudity, coarse language, and graphic discussions about the human body. Viewer discretion is advised. All right, so there you have it. Naked Attraction. Now, apparently it's not just... Oh, do we have a trailer here? Here, let's see. We'll watch the trailer. Let's see what this is about. All right. All right. Yeah, I haven't even seen what this looks like. Yeah, we'll watch it on the YouTube. Hold on. All right, here we go. Let's check this trailer out. New show, HBO Max, Naked Attraction. Seems, I mean, not for me, but I don't know. Here we go. New show, Naked Attraction on HBO, causing quite the stir.
In this dating show, we go back to basics.
Are you ready?
Bring it on.
And start where a good date often ends. Naked.
Don't know where to look.
Have you ever been faced with 6?
No, but I feel like I should have done.
What do men and women really find physically attractive?
Wow.
This is fantastic.
And could picking a partner based solely on their natural beauty
Could be a grower.
help us find the one?
I've never met anybody like this before and I don't know where to look.
Let's find out by dating in reverse.
Who are you going to pick for your date?
This is the hardest decision of my life. Oh my God.
Naked Attraction.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pass on that one. That does not look like something I'm going to be interested in. But there you go. Causing quite the stir on HBO Max. Stupid. That's what happens when the writer's strike goes on for 5 months. Start bringing in stupid British game shows that are already produced. Let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, here's a story that we talked about yesterday. Guys, we're almost out of time. I think we're just going to be an hour today. Oh, my God. We are just about out of time. We talked about this last night. An Office reboot is in the works at Peacock. Greg Daniels is involved. I don't know if Michael Schur is. I don't know about any of the stars. Neither do they. All they can say is that talks started during the writer's strike, and the idea was to do old episodes of basically do for the first season of the American Office with a reboot what the first season of the American Office was to the BBC version, which was a word-for-word remake of everything. But that those plans were scrapped, and they've decided that they're going to try and just reboot the series. There are no more details. We don't know what that means. We don't know. Reboot the series. Does that mean reboot the brand or reboot the series? Because if you're rebooting the brand, then you can do a spinoff. Then you can, you know what I mean? Then you can bring Dwight back and you make him the new general manager or whatever, Dunder Mifflin Regional, whatever. You can do a spinoff. Or if you're just going to do a straight up reboot, that would just be remake the series with new actors. Because you can't get all the same old actors. Although, as we said last night, you can probably get Stanley, Angela, and who is it? Phyllis. You could probably get those, and Kevin. Maybe Oscar's available. Although I've seen Oscar in things. I like Oscar. You know who else I like? Who I have never seen? I mean, certainly some people from The Office have gone on to do big things. Not really Jenna Fisher. She's done some things, but not really. Jenna Fisher, Pam hasn't really. Jim has. Jim Krasinski. BJ Novak, Ryan has, obviously Mindy Kaling has, and Mike and Steve Carell, they have. Rainn Wilson, not so much. Rainn Wilson almost, but he did a couple of movies, nobody saw him, and now Rainn Wilson doesn't really do anything. So that's why I think you build the new series around Dwight, maybe, if you're going to do a spinoff. Now, if you're going to do a reboot of the series, then you just got to recast. But if you can't have Dwight playing Dwight. Maybe you have Dwight play Creed. Rainn Wilson, who is now an older guy, can now play Creed. Anyway, Creed would be available too. Is Creed alive? I don't know. Moving on. Very excited. I'm in the middle of an Office rewatch myself, so this news caught me as very interesting. All right, what else do we have? Let's see here. Okay, Chevy Chase is trending. This is interesting. Chevy Chase went on Mark Maron's podcast, and Chevy Chase can't help himself. Chevy Chase is a piece of trash. He's just an absolute. He's a dick. This is not news. Chevy Chase has been a dick since 1977. The minute Chevy Chase got a taste of fame, he became a complete a-hole. Bill Murray punched Chevy Chase in the face backstage at Saturday Night Live because when Chevy Chase came back to host 1 year after leaving the show and Bill Murray was the new guy, Chevy Chase was kind of a dick to Bill Murray. And Bill Murray at that point, I don't always Bill Murray's not a pussy is my point. So Bill Murray punched and knocked Chevy Chase to the ground and there was a big hubbub. It's one of the big famous backstage stories from Saturday Night Live history. Chevy Chase would go on to be a big movie star because the American with the Great Unwashed, we didn't know what an a-hole he was. We loved him. He was funny and he is talented, man. Chevy Chase is a funny guy. The Griswolds, the Vacation movies, Fletch, Caddyshack. He's great. He's fantastic, but he's a jerk. Chevy Chase was raised a really rich kid. He's a privileged elitist boarding school. The character he played in Caddyshack? That is basically who Chevy Chase was. So Chevy Chase has a history of treating people poorly. People don't like him. Chevy Chase and Bill Murray can get along for years. Now they've kind of buried the hatchet, I believe. There was something a couple of years ago where the two of them went out to lunch and there were pictures and it was like, yeah, we're fine now. But Chevy Chase is a dick. Chevy Chase did a show called Community a couple of years ago. And this was the subject of conversation on the recent episode of What the F with Mark Maron, and Chevy Chase was the guest. So Community, I'm very protective of Community because I think Community is one of the great situation comedies of all time. Not just the last 20 years or this millennial. I think Community has a place easily in the top 10 greatest situation comedies of all time. Rare. But then again, there's shows that I don't put in there that other people do, like MASH. I don't put MASH in there, but whatever. Okay. Community is a great show. And over time, nobody watched Community when it was on. I mean, some people did. It was critically acclaimed. Everybody recognized that this was a truly great show. But I don't know that it was a big, massive hit, TV hit, right? It wasn't Seinfeld. It wasn't must-see TV. But over the course of, it being on Netflix and all of that, other generations have picked it up and it's been discovered. And it's not just a cult classic. It is an undisputed, tremendous piece of television that was created at a time when nobody was noticing situation comedies. So they're remaking it, or they're not remaking it. They're not remaking it. They're doing the movie. All Community fans, because the show ended so weirdly and because it was just so underappreciated, Community fans like myself, we've been demanding a movie. We need to know. The problem is it's been like 10 years now. So the movie can't exactly show us what happens after they leave the junior college because, you know, they've been in the world for 10 years at least. But whatever, they're making it. Dan Harmon is involved. Everybody's involved. They're remaking it. Chevy Chase was the star of Community. Chevy Chase is one of the reasons the Community got greenlit in the first place, because Community was made up of absolutely nobodies. The entire cast were people that nobody had ever seen, with the exception of Joel McHale, who had briefly done E. He was on E, Talk Soup or whatever. But Joel McHale was certainly not a big name, but he was the star, and they needed somebody to make the networks go, okay, we'll give it a chance, and that was Chevy Chase. So Chevy Chase was brought in as sort of the ringer, if you will, in the early days of Community to get people to notice. I can tell you that in the first couple of episodes, I would probably have referred to it as, oh, that new Chevy Chase has got a new show. Chevy Chase is back on TV. That's how the show was promoted early. Chevy Chase is the one that did the talk shows to promote it. Chevy Chase was all of it. So, but here's what happened. Over the course of the first couple of seasons, and they say that it happened within the first 6 episodes of the first season, Chevy Chase realized that he was kind of not the most cutting edge, not the most talented. He wasn't the star. He may have been the star on paper because he's a 70-something-year-old man, but he was up there doing scenes with Donald Glover, and he felt intimidated. He didn't say as much, but other people have. And there were issues between Chevy Chase and Donald Glover. Chevy Chase, many say, felt so threatened by Donald Glover that Chevy Chase would intentionally try and ruin Donald Glover's scenes. Donald Glover, when asked by Dan Harmon about it, said, it ain't a thing. Donald Glover said he can handle it. Not a big deal. Anyway, Chevy Chase left the show. It was very ugly. He was a piece of garbage to everybody. Nobody liked him. He was mean. He was upset because he's looking at this cast of Community, a bunch of no-names, who now, I mean, my God, whether it's Alison Brie or Jillian Jacobs or Donald Glover, I mean, it's so amazingly talented cast that were unknowns when Chevy Chase walked in. So Chevy Chase just over the course became kind of a bitch. Like, oh my God, these people are rising. These stars, these kids are enjoying what I enjoyed back in 1977. And now I'm old and I'm angry and I'm just going to be a dick about everything. And that's what Chevy Chase turned into. So Chevy Chase is now talking to Mark Maron on the What the F podcast, and he's discussing his time at Community. So let me read some of these quotes that Chevy Chase had to say. And they are just so on point, on brand for who Chevy Chase has been. And I loved Chevy Chase as a kid. Don't give me Modern Problems. Come on. He was hysterical. But it turns out he's a jerk. He's a real jerk. Chevy Chase disses Community again as, quote, not funny or hard-hitting enough for me. Not hard-hitting enough for the guy who did Fletch? Really? Chevy Chase says, I just didn't want to be surrounded by those people. Donald Glover, Alison Brie, and Jillian Jacobs, Joel McHale, you don't want to be surrounded by those people? What are those people? What a dick. What a mean old man. What a get off my lawn piece of garbage Chevy Chase is. And by the way, the character of Pierce Hawthorne that Chevy Chase played on Community was great. So for all of this bullshit, Chevy Chase did some truly good work. And I don't think he appreciates it. I don't think he appreciates how funny he was as that character. Chevy Chase appeared on Mark Maron's What the F podcast and claimed that Community, the NBC sitcom he starred on for 83 episodes, was not funny enough for me. Chase played millionaire Pierce Hawthorne on Community for 4 seasons. His co-stars on the Dan Harmon created comedy included Joel McHale, Jillian Jacobs, Danny Pudi, Yvette Nicole Brown, Alison Brie, Donald Glover, and Ken Jeong. Yeah, we forgot about Ken Jeong. The great Ken Jeong. He ain't not funny enough for Chevy Chase. Donald Glover not funny enough for Chevy Chase. Okay. I honestly felt the show wasn't funny enough for me. Ultimately, I felt a little bit constrained, Chase said. Everybody had their bits, and I thought they were all good. It just wasn't hard-hitting enough for me. Oh, so Chevy thinks it's stupid. Asked about his character, Chase added, I didn't mind the character of Pierce. I just felt that I felt happier being alone. I just didn't want to be surrounded by that table every day with those people. It was too much. What? So what Chevy Chase is saying is he wanted to be the star. He didn't want any of those people. He didn't want Danny Pudi and Donald Glover doing those incredible two-man comedy team bits at the end of each episode. He didn't want that. He didn't want the brilliance of Ken Jeong. He didn't want to be hanging around with John Oliver. I mean, the people associated with that show, even the side characters, the people who were just students, they are all brilliantly talented writers and actors. No, he didn't want that. He was scared. He's scared because he's old and he's slow. And he saw that. He stood there against Donald Glover and had to do a scene. Pierce and Troy had a lot of scenes together. That's Donald Glover and Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase had to do those scenes with Donald Glover, and Chevy Chase looked at Donald Glover and went, holy shit, I ain't seen this since Belushi. Chevy Chase didn't like it. He didn't like what he saw, and it turned him into a dick. Well, maybe he was always a dick. It just triggered it. Chase was fired from the show after using a racial slur on set. Cast members such as Donald Glover have spoken out in the past about Chase's problematic set behavior. Chase said on What the F podcast, he has no ill will against Harmon for axing him from the show. Chase says, I have no idea if we're okay or not. Nothing, noting that he hadn't seen Harmon since 2012. Chase is then quoted as saying, I've never been not okay. He's kind of a pisser. He's angry. He called and he said he was sorry. So I love him now. I don't know. I think Chevy Chase is maybe like thinking, hey, Dan Harmon could have been my ticket to 15 more years of paychecks and celebrity. And now I walked away because I was a big old baby about that show. And the world has pretty much acknowledged that Dan Harmon's pretty good at what he does. And he certainly has made a whole bunch of money for people like Donald Glover and Joel McHale and Allison Brie and all of them. Chevy Chase told CBS Sunday Morning last year that he, quote, doesn't give a crap about headlines and former co-stars painting him as a problem on the set. Chase said, I guess you'd have to ask them. Chase responded when asked at the time if stories about him being a jerk are unfounded. I don't give a crap. I am who I am, and I like who I am. I don't care, and it's part of me that I don't care, and I've thought about that a lot, and I don't know what to tell you, man. I just don't care. There you go. That's the quote from Chevy Chase. He's a mean old man. He's just a mean old man. He didn't have an ounce of kindness in him. Did a whole bunch of drugs and watched his career get flushed in the late 80s, early 90s. Never really bounced back. Went and did a TV show. Tried to reposition himself as the next Johnny Carson. That got him blackballed. Why? Because he went up against Johnny Carson and Johnny was like, you're dead. Dude didn't work for 20 years until Dan Harmon said, hey, I got this sitcom called Community. You want to do it? And it resurrected Chevy Chase's life. And then he didn't appreciate it. Glover told the New York, Donald Glover. Oh, wait, here we go. Wait, I skipped over a piece. Chase told CBS Morning, I don't care. I just don't care. Glover told the New Yorker in 2018 that Chase repeatedly made racist jokes on the Community set. According to the profile, Chevy Chase often tried to disrupt Glover's scenes by making racial cracks between takes, one of which was the following. Chase would mutter under his breath, people only think you're funny because you're black. During a scene when Donald Glover is delivering a line, Chevy Chase is muttering, people only think you're funny because you're black. I mean, maybe he's kidding, but man, first of all, that's a terrible scene partner. That's a real piece of garbage person. I mean, is it that horrible of a thing to say? It's kind of fun. It's fucked up is what it is. It's just, I don't know. I don't even know how to process that. But here you've got an artist, someone you're working with, a young kid who probably looks up to you. You're Chevy Chase. Donald Glover wasn't done. He wasn't Childish Gambino yet. He wasn't Donald Glover of Atlanta yet. He wasn't Donald Glover of the Star Wars universe yet. He was just a kid. Jesus. Glover told the New Yorker in 2008 that Chase repeatedly made racist jokes on the Community set. According to the profile, Chase would often try to disrupt his scenes by making racial cracks between takes, one of which was the following. He would mutter, people think you're only funny because you're black. Chevy was the first to realize how immensely gifted Donald was. And the way he expressed his jealousy was to try to throw Donald off, Harmon said. Okay, so that's the executive producer. So the executive producer is like watching it. And he's like, oh, yeah, old lion, old star of 1970s and 80s comedy, Chevy Chase, sees this young Donald Glover, recognizes what he's got. Like I said, not since Belushi have I seen someone with this much magnetism and raw talent. Dan Harmon's watching this, and Dan Harmon's like, oh, yeah, I see it. He's just jealous. He's going to shit on this kid. Hearing footsteps, Chevy. Chevy was the first to realize how immensely gifted Donald was, and the way he expressed his jealousy was to try and throw Donald off, Harmon said. I remember apologizing to Donald after a particularly rough night of Chevy's non-PC attacks on Donald. Donald turned to me and said, oh, man, I don't even worry about it. Saturday Night Live star Pete Davidson called Chase a fucking douchebag in 2018. Davidson added, F Chevy Chase. He's just a genuinely bad, racist piece of crap. I think he's a putz. I don't like him. Well, there's Pete Davidson chiming in. Harmon and the Community cast are currently gearing up to reunite for a long-awaited film version of the sitcom. McHale told Variety in June that Harmon and co-writer Andrew Guest had almost finalized the script before development paused amid the Writers Guild of America strike. The film is all set up at Peacock for a late 2020, early 2024 release. All right, so I don't know what that means, but there you have it. Community, a little community fun. I love Community. I know Adam loves Community too. What is he? Is he got any? It's not necessarily racist, but he said, I mean, it is, but he's probably more than an ass. Okay, I don't know. Chevy Chase is a problem. He's a D-bag. All right, guys, that's going to do it. That's it. We are out of content for today. I thank you so much for joining me. Let me quickly jump over and see if anything big has happened. Anything new here? Yeah, apparently Biden has walked the ticket line, so there you go. All right, very good. Whatever that means. Britney Spears made a video that everybody's freaking out about. Is this new? Britney Spears, she made a video. She's dancing with knives, and now everybody, they're going to Chandler Jones her. They're going to go over there, and they're probably not even going to need to inject her with anything. Yeah. All right, let's see. I don't see anything new. Yep. All right, that's going to do it. All right, thanks. I appreciate you. We'll see you later tonight for the Radio Misfits. It's myself and James Parker. We're going to get together at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, chopping it up, talking about whatever the heck it is. I don't know. It hasn't happened yet. Whatever it is has not happened. Hold on. Let me do this. I gotta go out. I gotta run. I got stuff I got to do today. Hold on. Just hold on. Spotify isn't working. What's going on with Spotify? How are you? How are you guys? Hi, Leslie. We got Leslie. We got Leslie C. We got Leslie M. We got Al. We got Frank. We got Adam. What the heck? My Spotify's not loading. How am I supposed to play my theme song? Oh. Okay, well, I don't have time for this. So I'm just going to reboot everything. All right, guys, we're going to go. No closing theme. I'm sorry. There we go. Wait a second. Here we go. You know, this always happens. You throw something down. There it is. Ugh, I was so worried. I can smile a little now. I just randomly clicked on an aggregator to see if there were any big headlines that had popped. In the aggregator that I clicked on this time was Drudge Report. Man, it's all the headlines are written so negative. It's all like there's a tone to the way the headlines all read. Yeah. All right, guys, we'll see you. We'll see you tonight at 9 o'clock, and then we'll rally back here tomorrow at noon for more of the High Noon Rant with me, Pugs Moran. All the day's news, everything you need to know coming at you every day at noon. I'm Pugs Moran. Bye, everybody. See you. the song